Promotional consideration provided by Rockland Trust, David Rogers Electric, M. Duffany Builders, Eastman's Home and Hardware, Crane Appliance.
Welcome to Falmouth Is Cooking. I'm Gail Blakely. I am your host for this half-hour show where we talk about all things food related in the Falmouth area and beyond, because we can't just limit ourselves to Falmouth. It winds up being mostly Cape Cod, so that's pretty cool. And usually I have a guest, which I do today, and what we are going to do today is be talking about really one of my favorite things in the world are libraries. So I have a 30-year-old retired librarian here, research librarian, is that what?
Reference librarian.
Reference librarian. And Jill Erickson, many of you will probably recognize her if you've been in and out of the libraries, but you're not there anymore.
That's true. I'm now retired from that part of my career.
Okay, good. And enjoying it, and now I dragged you onto television, so after we were on the point. Jill and I were talking about restaurant cookbooks on Mindy Todd's show last week, or 2 weeks ago. And I thought, this would really be fun because as a little girl, I'm just going to give you a little background here, books were my thing. They still are. And cookbooks certainly still are. I have probably close to 5,000 cookbooks, I think. Yeah, I know.
It's a lot of cookbooks.
I know. I'm trying to figure out what to do with them all at this point. But now that I know a librarian, I probably would have something to do with them. And I had a little cloth book when I was 3 years old, and I can't remember the name of it, but I can still see it, and it had animals in it, and I would just take that to bed with me. And as an only child, that was my best friend, and books were my best friends. And they still are. So I am delighted to have you join me. I thank you for coming on.
It's delightful to be here, and I have to say I have a very similar story, which is that I too, I started with public libraries when I was very young. My mother took us all to our local library, and I fell in love with books there, and am still in love with books, and still really love paper books, I have to say, which is increasingly not what is most loved, but it's certainly still true for me.
Good. Well, we certainly share that. And well, now I know who I can hand some of my cookbooks off to, except that you don't cook a lot. You cook a little bit. This is true. Luckily, I live with somebody who cooks a lot. Okay. But he cooks without cookbooks. Yes. So this is a big step towards cooking, actually doing something from a recipe. Oh, good. All right. Well, we're doing a very simple recipe today because I've learned that on this show over the past 4 or 5 years that we've been doing it, simple is best. And so we are doing a 600-year-old recipe, which is posset. Lemon posset. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit because first I want to hear some of the wonderful stories that I think Jill has for me. I said to her, tell me what, as the reference librarian, what you would do. What did people call you and say, I need a cookbook, I need to make this for my mother-in-law coming for dinner? What did you do, and what was your experience?
One has to remember, when I started, this was before the internet.
Okay.
There was no internet to look up your recipes.
Okay.
So you would call the reference librarian instead. And I went through, I keep notebooks. I used to keep notebooks of all my questions. And so I went through for this opportunity to look at how many recipes people actually asked for. And so this is just a list of a few of the things that were asked for when they would call the reference desk. Somebody needed a recipe for rosehip jelly, Queen Anne lace jelly, garlic jelly, a recipe for self-rising flour, crock-pot cookery, what do Italians do for New Year celebrations, which includes they cook with lentils, raisins, rice, and oranges. And one of my favorites, what is the official spelling of yum yum, that's good, which not exactly recipe, but what you want to hear afterwards.
How could you not figure out how to spell yum yum?
I cannot tell you. There were many questions. I could not tell you why it was they did not know how to do this.
Okay.
And chili powder recipe, Portuguese bread, not sweet. And one of my favorite, how hot is the oven for baked Alaska? So we got to ask these all the time, and we had a substantial, there's still a very substantial collection of cookbooks in the Falmouth Public Library.
Absolutely.
So much of this came from other cookbooks.
Yeah.
And the most fun was the woman who was cooking. I can't even remember what she was cooking, but it was like the night before Thanksgiving, and she didn't have the cookbook that she needed. And so I read her the recipe from the specific cookbook, because luckily we had the cookbook.
Aren't you
so
nice?
That was good.
That was very nice of you. Can you remember the cookbook?
I cannot remember.
I wonder what it was. Maybe it was Fanny Farmer or something.
It could have been some classic, Truly, I don't remember, but I do remember her calling, because it was like, well, this is, and that's sort of, as a reference librarian, what could be better than helping somebody on Thanksgiving Eve? Right?
Absolutely. So let's go back to where you were then. You had the little, the Dewey Decimal System, and you had the little pull-out card.
Card catalog. We did a paper card catalog when I first got there.
And the little pieces of paper that you would write down what you wanted to take out, which book, and where the 791 point something or other. And then you would go and get your book and either check it out or did we have Xerox back then? I can't remember.
Yeah, there were Xeroxes then. Yes. I know it's a long time ago, but yes.
Okay. And we had bookshelves too. And a library to boot. So that's what's changed. So I went into the library today and I said, I want to, Jill, I want to make posset, if you were there.
Yeah.
And you would say, what is posset? And I would say, well, it's a 600-year-old recipe. And where would we go from there? What would you advise me to do from there if I went into the library, if you were still there?
Well, chances are you wouldn't come into the library because you'd find it online.
That's true.
However,
that is true.
there is a whole section on posset in something called the Shakespeare Cookbook by Andrew Dalby.
So interesting.
You get more. You find out more about what posset is and how long it's been around.
So tell me.
Here's a little bit from the book. It says a posset is a very ancient concept, almost as old as cheese, perhaps because the distinctive feature of posset is that it is curdled, much as cheese curdles. And then they talk also here about posset being mentioned in Shakespeare's plays. So it's mentioned in The Merry Wives of Windsor. George Page invites Sir John Falstaff, and we know, if we know anything about Falstaff, we know he likes to eat. To eat a posset tonight at my house. In the other case, in Macbeth, we aren't told whether the posset was eaten or drunk, because apparently it was liquid at some point. The resourceful Lady Macbeth simply says, quote, the surfeited grooms do mock the charge with snores. I have drugged their possets.
Oh, good
From
idea.
these two cases together, we can see that a posset was a late-night drink, though not always such as an effective sleeping draught as Lady Macbeth describes. So there's a long history of posset, more than I realized until you asked me to come on the show.
Okay, that's really amazing. Yeah, when I think about that, and then the witches, remember the witches with the cauldron? Maybe they were making a posset too, but they didn't add any cream that we're aware of. So. All right. What else about cookbooks and people wanting the latest. Were there ever any cookbooks that you remember that came out? I'm dating myself again, back to the 80s, I'm sorry. But like when Silver Palette came out in the mid-80s.
And when the Moosewood cookbooks started coming out, those were really very, very popular.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So people would wait lists to get on to get them?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And actually at the Falmouth Public Library, there's always been, for whatever reason, an enormous cookbook collection. It is a very substantial
I remember that
collection.
when I moved here, yes.
And one of the things, when you asked me to come do this, I started looking at my mother's books, her cookbooks, because she was a home economics teacher and she cooked she cooked for her school, and she also had a big collection of, and I found this Boston Cooking School cookbook, which has
that looks like it's been around for a while. Fannie Merritt Farmer.
Yeah.
I never knew her middle name was Merritt. See, I'm learning here.
You learn all kinds of things.
Okay.
And she has a spring dinner here. She has a wild duck dinner here. And the spring dinner is consomme, Melba toast, olive celeries, and radishes, as if you need to know how to make those. But roast saddle of hothouse lamb.
Hothouse lamb.
Boned loin of lamb, currant mint sauce, new potatoes, green peas, asparagus. This is not like a special Thanksgiving dinner. This is just a spring dinner. Hollandaise sauce or melted butter, which would presumably be easier. Noisette bomb, whatever that. Have you ever heard of a noisette bomb?
Noisette, yeah. I think that's the French word for walnut. So it might be like ice cream, a walnut ice cream.
And tiny sponge cakes and after dinner coffee. This is all one spring dinner, so how exciting is that?
Very, very. That's amazing.
But it's a really...
This is a lovely little
It's a really
cookbook.
classic kind of cookbook. And it reminds me also of and I don't know why I thought of this when you said I should come on the show with you, which was that the New York Public Library actually has this extraordinary collection of menus. So if you want to know what people were eating in any year you can think of when there were restaurants, it goes back to the 1840s to the present. And it's restaurant menus, so you get all...
So like Delmonico's and the big fancy...
Right, all the big fancies, but also small things as well. And they have a whole group of people that are trying to put tags on them so people can find the cookbooks on the internet. But they have approximately 45,000 menus dating from the 1840s to the present. That's a lot of menus.
That's a lot of food.
That's a lot. And the New York Public Library's restaurant menu collection is one of the largest in the world, used by historians, chefs, novelists. I love that novelists are using it as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And everyday food enthusiasts. Trouble is, the menus are very difficult to search for the greatest treasures they contain. And so they're trying to have people put in all the text so that they're not just looking at the picture, they also have a way to get to a specific menu or a specific item they want to cook. So really an interesting, and all done together by the New York Public Library Rare Book Division, which is pretty impressive.
Division. Yeah, sure is. Wow. And when was this book? When did Fannie come out with this book?
And that is actually the 7th edition.
Yeah, wow.
But it probably has a date on the back of the front page. If there, it's missing. It looks like it's missing its front page. But this is in fact the 7th edition. It in fact looks to me like it is missing its title page because my mother used it so much. She at some point lost the front page. So I can't tell you.
This is a treasure.
Probably the 40s.
Yeah, take good care of this.
Yes,
this is just lovely. Yeah. Look, I mean, this is just some really gorgeous little stuff like that. It's really cool. Remember when kitchens looked like that? I think I can remember that. Oh my goodness! And scissors to cut the pie dough. Wow. Cool. Well, thank you for bringing this.
Sure.
Thank you. I like that. All right. Anything else about cookbooks? Well, let's just go back to what we talked about, the bear. When we were on Mindy's show. I found one this morning when I was going through my books that I should have brought to Mindy's show. It's called Abraham Lincoln in the Kitchen.
What did Abraham Lincoln cook in the kitchen?
And I should have brought it. I should have
that.
brought it. I'll get it to you. It's really a very interesting book that talks about the cooking at the time of Abraham Lincoln, and of course what his cooks would have made. Excuse me, what he would have made, all that kind of stuff, and just really interesting. Very much a lot like that. So okay. All right, so Jill is no longer at the library, and we know now that we have the internet, but I will say what I always say to you when we do this show: please, when you go to the internet for recipes, be careful, just be careful. There are so many recipes there that are not well tested, and food is expensive now. Ingredients are expensive. You don't want to waste it. A couple of ones that come to mind for me to think that are always very, very good. I think Milk Street Kitchen is a reliable source. The New York Times, Cooking New York Times is fabulous. And Sam Sifton even wrote a book that your partner might like. It's called Cooking Without Recipes. So the New York Times, I just be leery of some of the more private bloggers, perhaps is the best way to say it, although there certainly are substantially referenced and checked out good blogs out there. Find your favorite blog and then start following it and cook from it, and there you go. All right. So we are going to move to cooking. That's a good segue here. Okay. Jill is going to help me in the kitchen, and we are going to show you how to make posset to celebrate springtime. Okay, here we are back in the kitchen making a 600-year-old recipe for lemon posset, which is going to be springtime personified, almost like our recipe that we were talking, our menu that we were talking about. I think what's most easy about this is that it can be made in advance. It only has really 4 ingredients. It has sugar, lemon, vanilla, and heavy cream. And that is it. No gelatin, no nothing like that. It's perfect for making ahead and being able to serve for a Mother's Day brunch, for a dessert. I think I would make it, we're going to put it in these little baby jars, but I might put it in a bigger, flatter, even a glass loaf pan, let it chill up, and then use it for a fool. Do you know what a fool is?
I do not.
I do. I didn't either for a long time. So a fool, if we were to make one, would have a little layer of custard or lemon posset in here, some fresh fruit, another little layer of posset or custard, and then maybe some crumbled cookies or graham crackers.
Eaten that. I didn't
you
know
have
what
eaten
it was
that.
called
Now
in a
it's called a
restaurant.
fool. Yeah, it's really cool. And then the fool is cool, and it's also topped with whipped cream usually, and maybe some mint. So
you can't go wrong with whipped
no, how can
cream.
you? Absolutely, I agree. These are cute little jars. Obviously, we're recycling here. These are the jars from yogurt that you see in the supermarkets. That is way overpriced, but if you get a jar for it, I guess it's probably you can rationalize it. It's okay to do that. And then I ordered from online just a couple of these little tops that make it really very usable at home again. And what's nice about that is that you can do salad dressings. You could, just do leftover pancake batter. I mean, anything. So anyway, that's my sales pitch for recycling glass jars. All right. So we're going to start this way. I am going to continue to zest, and then I'm going to give you the lemons to squeeze. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to get 1/3 of a cup of lemon juice that's going to sit in there, and I am going to put a little 1/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla in that, and then that liquid gets added after we have dissolved the chocolate in the heavy cream. Okay, so you are going to be squeezing like you're doing now, and I'm going to be zesting. We want about a teaspoon and a half. This recipe will also be on the screen for you. About a teaspoon and a half of lemon zest. And if you don't have one of these, I can't tell you how quickly you need to run to the store and get one of these because you will use this a lot. I was away, went down to South Carolina for the month of February, and I did not have a zester, and I was amazed at how many times I said, I need my zester. I just never knew that I used it all that much. So, all right, so here we have a zested lemon and about 1.5 teaspoons. I can sort of put this together and see that I'm going to do just a little bit more. So how about cutting that in half and then doing that, and I'm going to do a little bit more. It's very fluffy. This is great for cheese too. And they come in all different grates at this point. I think this is originally a carpenter's tool. Yeah. And somebody, a rasp, and somebody somewhere, if I don't remember the story, I'll have to look it up. But what they did was they said some man, obviously, carpenter, was using his rasp, and his wife was saying, I wonder if that would work for cheese or for getting some zest off of something. And guess what?
It worked.
The rasp came from the carpenter's bench into the kitchen, and it's never left. I think they're quite wonderful. And, okay, perfect. I think you're looking good there, Jill. Oh, 1/4. Let's go a little more.
A little bit more.
And if you could do that one too. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do now with this is put this on the burner and turn on my persnickety stove top. And
did you start cooking when you were young? I mean, like as a, I don't know, beyond toddler, but...
I was never allowed in the kitchen.
I see.
My mother did not want me in the kitchen. My father let me come in a couple times to actually make scrambled eggs. And I would do that occasionally, but I would mostly just watch and do dishes.
Yeah, okay. I did lots of that.
You did lots of that. Well, that's good, because we need people like us in the kitchen, trust me. Okay, organic heavy cream. I prefer organic when I'm using dairy. So this is the 2 cups, which is pretty easy. We don't have to even dirty a measuring cup. I think that's perfect.
That's good.
That's perfect.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Perfect is good.
Perfect is good. Absolutely. And we got one more to go. Cool. Okay. We could even use that for garnishes. 1/2 cup of sugar. And this sugar is a new find of mine. It's not as processed. It's a little browner, so it's not like raw sugar, but it's less processed than the white sugar, which is why it's the little different color. So, all right, so this is on, and I'm going to give you the job now of just stirring this gently, just like that. So you can see how unbelievably easy this is. The pint of heavy cream, good quality heavy cream, 1/2 cup of sugar, and 1.5 teaspoons of lemon zest. Okay? And that's on high, so let me put it down a little bit because I don't want you bubbling over. We've had other disasters in the kitchen, but trust me. Yes.
All right, stirring. I can do that.
You can do that. You're doing a great job. Okay. All right. So this is a recipe that, because it's so simple, you can actually sometimes rush through it and not pay attention, which is what I did yesterday when I put the lemon juice in there before it needed to go in there. So I had to redo the whole thing.
What happened when you put it in at the wrong time?
It curdled, which is what it does, and it actually makes it congeal. And then you'll see when I bring out my magic what it really looks like. So, okay, so adding the vanilla, good quality vanilla, please. I think that this is not the vanilla flavor. This is pure vanilla extract, and this is usually made with either bourbon or alcohol of some sort. So you can also get it now non-alcohol. The top to most vanilla bottles is 1 teaspoon.
Is that? I didn't know that. I did not say I'm learning all kinds of things today.
And
This is
so,
good.
and so here I'm going to do 1/4 teaspoon, just like that. Eyeball it, and that goes in my lemon juice. And now I know that I don't have to worry about forgetting the lemon juice because it's right here, and it's going to go in as soon as we get that melted. We want that to simmer a little bit. Here's one of the tricks I learned when I made this yesterday. I think I already said that be careful that you don't put your lemon juice into your mixture until you're ready. These go in the trash. But I think that normally when I'm straining lemons, you can either squeeze them and then pour the juice and put it through your fingers to catch the seeds, or you can use this cute little sieve here, which you could also do. But then I said to Jill earlier, I said, you know, this is, we're going to be straining the entire thing to get the zest out. So if there's any seeds that are in here, they're going to come out too. So we don't need to use this. So yeah, goodbye strainer, sieve, whatever. All right, that's a lovely color too. It's got a little lemon zest in there. So while you're doing that, I'm going to move on to our next step. We are going to do this in 2 stages, actually. You're going to see us make this. We're going to strain it, pour it into our little cups, and then with the magic of television, of course, we have something to bring out. We can always taste that, but it's going to be a little goopy, I think. But here is the real deal. So these do need to sit for at least 3 hours. So I like to make them the night before. And here they are, all put in this my little jars container. And I started to decorate. We got some little Annie's, you know, Annie, the brand Annie that does macaroni and cheese for kids and little cheese crackers. She also does a little bunny, a graham cracker bunny, and I thought that would be cute with this, especially if you were doing this for Easter, which is past at this point, but this would be really very nice.
We have a lot of rabbits in our backyard, so we're always happy to see the rabbits when they come back.
Tell me about it. I'll let you take the rest of those home. You can feed them out there. So, okay, so this is a decorated one, but you can see how nice these are. They don't move. They're nice and solid. And Jill and I are going to decorate them.
We are convinced that our cat can talk to the rabbits.
Oh, I am sure. I am sure.
We put her in a case with some netting on it, and she sits out there in the backyard and chats with the rabbits.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do the rabbits like her?
They seem. The birds have no interest in her, but the rabbit, the rabbit will come right up close to her. I mean,
Wow.
it's
Okay.
quite amazing.
So much for our rabbits, our Cape Cod rabbits. Let me just see if there's anything more about posset that I want to say here. I don't think that there is. You need just the 4 ingredients. It's an easy make-ahead dessert for any spring celebration or any celebration, actually. And I think you can do it with other fruits as well. So you can do lime. You can use probably Meyer lemons would be wonderful if we could get Meyer lemons, which are sort of that nice thin skin lemon that's a cross between a grapefruit and a lemon.
They're delicious.
Wonderful. They're hard to find though. So lime and, you know, cara oranges or blood oranges would be nice. Blood orange posset would be nicely Christmassy with some candied cranberries, sugared cranberries on top. They didn't do that 600 years ago. Posset has been consumed in Britain for well over 600 years, although it was originally a hot drink made from sweetened curdled milk mixed with wine or ale. It was often served to help cure colds or fevers. The modern chilled citrus and cream version came to be in the 20th century. Since the recipe is British, posset is pronounced like pocket, but with an S. Posset. Is Falmouth cooking?
Yeah, it did not
Falmouth
seem to
is
be
cooking.
thickening here. It was, once again,
Well, it's not really.
It doesn't get really thick.
It's not really going to. What you're doing with this is you're trying to dissolve the sugar. That's the most important thing that you're doing. So, all right. So you can, I think, let that sit. And when it comes to its boil, which will probably happen in this show because of our question, is Falmouth cooking, right? We might have a nice, lovely stovetop that looks like a volcano has erupted, but we'll see what happens. All right. Let's get garnishing. How about that? And then we get to taste. So you're going to see what we do. We're going to add the lemon juice, then we're going to strain it and pour it into that, and then that would go into the refrigerator. So here you are, Jill. You got 2 to play with.
Oh boy, okay.
Okay, berries, mint, and some crackers. I think the fresh fruit really makes a difference. Now, depending on when I was serving this and after what kind of meal, I probably would fill them up a little more or less, depending on how I wanted people to, how much I wanted them to actually have a dessert. And it's a pretty rich dessert, actually, because it's the heavy cream and the butter and the, and the sugar and the lemon juice and the vanilla. Okay. All right, looking good. Putting some crackers in too. Good. Okay, I thought just to arrange them around the edge. Here, this could be for your backyard, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's okay. It'd be perfect.
All right. Can you
on
see?
On a nice summer evening to be eating
absolutely,
with the
absolutely.
rabbits.
You can see this is coming up to a simmer.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And then the recipe says once this is dissolved, you add the lemon juice. This is going to thicken it because it curdles it and it just all comes together and sets up. But you can't, it won't, otherwise you just have sweet cream, which wouldn't be bad either, you know? Okay. All right, so I am going to add my lemon juice. And again, I see a few seeds, but I'm not going to worry about them. See those seeds? Because we're going to strain this once it's cooked right into that. Trying to keep my cooktop clean here. So this needs to simmer for about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so. But we're going to push it up because the power of television is that we need to get it done. That looks good, Jill. I like those. Okay. Can you smell this? Can you smell the vanilla?
Yes.
Can you guys smell? Oh, it's really wonderful. All right. Here's one more for you to do.
Okay.
Rasp, asp. Asp is a snake. Rasp is what we're doing here. Otherwise known as microplane. And that is the name of it, yes. There are other ones on the market. Sorry to say this. Microplane seems to be the best in my opinion, anyway, my limited. So these are our ingredients with our cream, and our lemons are already in the trash. And this is doing beautifully. All right, now we get to do the fun part.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
This is the fun part.
This is the fun part. Okay. So I'm going to do a really simple one here, but I'm curious to see what you think.
Well, first I'm going to try it without the fruit.
Isn't that good?
Really good. Really good.
Amazingly good, isn't it? All right. So Falmouth is cooking. We don't need any question mark anymore. We're cooking, we're making posset, we're all set. And
eating small rabbits.
And eating small rabbits, which are really cool. This is really good. I think I would like it made into a fool as well. Oh, really good. All right, so this is simmering with the lemon juice in it and the vanilla. And we probably should cook it for the amount of time that the recipe says. but we're going to be modern. And we're going to do this as if this had been cooked for that amount of time. Any bowl. I did not have a larger sieve strainer than the one that I had before that I said goodbye to and put over there. But this is actually from my flour sifter, which is an old thing. I don't know if people even use flour sifters anymore, but if you cook anything by Maida Heater, any of her cookbooks, she's the doyen of wonderful, wonderful New York desserts. She always calls for sifting flour. So sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And it's a pain in the butt a lot of the time, but it does work. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start to pour this, and I'd like you to take that. See, this is a new thing for you.
What am I doing here?
You're going to see, you're going to start to push that through.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Now see, there is the
there is. I see the lemon
there's the zest and the seeds.
Yep.
Okay. There we go. And then from this, we will pour this into our little glasses and refrigerate it. And I'll let
how long does it have to refrigerate?
3 hours, and I'm going to let you know tomorrow if it sets or not. Okay, and there's our one big seed coming out. You ready?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Look at that.
Isn't that amazing?
What a great tool to have.
Where
it's how it separates out, but you don't want in it.
Yeah. Okay, and there we have it. So this is, okay. All right, so here we are with our strained top, and this is going to be going into the trash along with our lemons there. And here is our posset, which is actually very hot because the stainless steel bowl is keeping it like that. I find it easier to do it like this into a measuring cup and then pour it into these. And you try to keep it as clean as you possibly can. By clean, I mean not dripping all over, you know. But there's a couple there. One has a little drip on it, but I think it tastes just as good, so, you know, although visual is important. Now, one of the reasons that I can tell that this is probably not going to set as firmly as these have is that it is over 2 cups. So essentially we had 2 cups of liquid, which was the heavy cream, and then we had 1/3 of a cup of lemon juice. So that brought up the amount of ingredients. And if we had simmered it for the full 10 minutes, it would have reduced more. So then you would have had exactly the 2 cups. And there are some recipes that call for doing that, but I think we're doing just fine here. All right. Okay. And there we have it. Lemon posset. Falmouth is cooking, sometimes with a question mark, sometimes with an exclamation point. But Falmouth is Falmouth is cooking is all that much richer by having a research librarian to join us. So I thank you. I think this was really, really terrific.
Been a pleasure.
It was fun. Thank you. I hope you'll come back and we'll do something else. I don't know, but we'll come up with something. Maybe we should take a look at one of those New York menus. Delmonico potatoes have always been a favorite of mine. So if they're there, and then we just have to find the recipe, but I'm sure we can do that now. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy your lemon posset. Hopefully it will be less problematic than ours was, but it's more delicious than we need to think about. So, okay, that's it. See you next time.